We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a bit of news regarding the current Money in the Bank briefcase and contract holder, Big E. Now, there's no doubt that Big E's huge career-defining moment at the Money in the Bank 2021 pay-per-view event, where Big E climbed the ladder to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, is long overdue, because there had been so much fan support for Big E to have received a major push all the way back to when Kofi Kingston was the WWE champion back in 2019. And a lot of fans wanted to see Big E turn heel and betray the New Day to potentially dethrone Kofi of that WWE title. And while that was rumored to happen at that point in time, and Vince McMahon was legitimately considering to push Big E, unfortunately those plans fizzled out and WWE decided to keep the New Day together and cancel that Big E push. However, we are now in 2021, and Big E's push in WWE is truly just getting started, and Langston now has an opportunity to either become the Universal or WWE champion, an accomplishment that Big E deserves for sure. Now, when we discuss exactly what the WWE had planned for Big E when it comes to that Money in the Bank contract and briefcase, despite the fact that there were some rumors that suggested Big E could have been staying on Friday Night SmackDown and potentially cash in that Money in the Bank contract on the head of the table, Roman Reigns, to win that Universal Championship, apparently the second big rumor that has been going around about Big E moving over to Raw and then setting his sights on the WWE Championship is actually true, and the plan WWE have decided to move ahead with. According to one backstage report, Vince McMahon is planning for Big E to make the jump from SmackDown to Raw as early as the Raw episode after SummerSlam 2021, with one rumor even suggesting that WWE are now considering to have Big E cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and contract on Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam 2021, likely after the WWE title match between Lashley and Goldberg, which means Lashley may find a way to retain his title against Goldberg, but ultimately end up losing his WWE Championship to Big E when he's compromised after a hard match against Goldberg, with Big E successfully cashing in the contract. Now, by all means, a lot of fans will likely agree that Big E is the right man to end Bobby Lashley's WWE Championship reign, because Goldberg is only a part-time special appearance talent that certainly does not need any title at this point in his career, and other main event level stars on Raw such as Drew McIntyre have already had title reigns recently and also feuded with Bobby Lashley plenty enough. So Big E is the fresh option right now to win that WWE title and give Monday Night Raw a new flagship champion. As far as when Big E cashes in on Bobby Lashley is still a bit unclear, although again there is speculation that this could occur at SummerSlam 2021 to give the pay-per-view a massive swerve and title change, so do not be surprised at all if Big E does cash in on Bobby Lashley and close out SummerSlam 2021 the new WWE champion. And if this does happen, that would be a pretty solid WWE title reign for Bobby Lashley, as Bobby won the title all the way back in early March 2021 from The Miz, so that would be a near 6-month reign as champion for Lashley, which is definitely solid and respectable. One concern that a lot of fans have is whether or not Bobby Lashley would ever make his way back to the top of the card and get another title run, and unfortunately, one of our sources has mentioned that it is very unlikely that Lashley will be winning the WWE title again in the future, as Vince reportedly feels Bobby Lashley will not be around for too much longer in WWE now that he is 45 years of age. And regardless of that, McMahon apparently thinks Lashley is better fit in the mid-card US title or Intercontinental title scene, and has not been too impressed with the ratings Bobby Lashley has drawn for Raw as the WWE champion. So again, it does not look like Bobby Lashley will be winning that WWE title in the future once he loses it to Big E. Once Big E becomes the WWE champion, one backstage rumor has indicated that Vince plans a big feud between Drew McIntyre and Big E for the WWE title, which means that McIntyre will be coming out of his current feud with Jinder Mahal victorious, and then moving back up the card into the main event title scene, which also sort of confirms that Drew may not be switching brands during the 2021 WWE draft later this year, with one report indicating that Vince feels Drew McIntyre would be overshadowed being on the same brand as Roman Reigns. With all this being said, let us know your thoughts and opinions of Big E reportedly cashing in his Money in the Bank contract on Bobby Lashley to win the WWE Championship soon, perhaps as early as SummerSlam 2021 in a couple of weeks. And in your honest opinion, Do you feel that Lashley would deserve a chance to become WWE Champion again in the future after losing the title to Big E? Or is Vince right that Lashley should be featured in the mid-card title scene moving forward? When Renee Young left WWE last year in 2020, there's no doubt that there was a ton of buzz regarding where Renee Young would end up after being granted her release from WWE. Because with Renee's husband Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, wrestling for AEW All Elite Wrestling, a lot of fans speculated that Renee Young was leaving WWE to join AEW, whether in some sort of a broadcast role or to even work with Jon Moxley in some capacity. However, that did not end up happening right away, as Renee Young wanted to focus on some other business ventures after leaving WWE for the past year or so, as well as starting a family with Jon Moxley, which they have now done. And for those of you unaware, there are some new big rumors that suggest Renee Young could very well be joining AEW, and Jon Moxley will essentially be bringing his wife Renee Young over to All Elite Wrestling. In a recent interview, Renee Young revealed that her non-compete clause with WWE is about to run up, and that Renee still wants to be a part of professional wrestling in one way or another, and that there are endless possibilities for her in AEW, where her husband Jon Moxley currently works, and one shocking backstage rumor has indicated that Jon Moxley is currently convincing AEW officials to sign Renee Young, who he feels would be a huge addition to the AEW roster, and is capable of doing a lot of good for the company. So it does look like Jon Moxley will be bringing the popular Renee Young to AEW very soon if all things go according to plan. As many of you guys are likely aware, Randy Orton has been sadly missing from WWE television since the June 21st episode of Monday Night Raw, and despite being advertised to return on a few different occasions since then, the Viper has been nowhere to be seen in WWE, and it has now gotten to the point where fans are legitimately concerned that Randy Orton could be the next major superstar to be released. And while this would have sounded incredibly far-fetched just last year, with the recent releases of former world champions and absolutely huge stars like Braun Strowman and The Fiend Bray Wyatt, any superstar besides Roman Reigns could be released, which includes Randy Orton, a superstar that reportedly cost the WWE roughly $5 million per year. One new backstage report has indicated that Randy Orton could possibly be getting released from WWE for budget-cutting reasons, although the report goes on to summarize that Randy Orton would not be leaving WWE after being released from his current high seven-figure contract, and Vince is apparently working on a new contract for Randy Orton that would be a part-time deal to save the WWE some money during these tough times, and this apparently works for Randy Orton, who has wanted to wrestle less often as he gets older. One source has noted that Randy Orton could have already been released from his last contract and has signed this new part-time deal, hence why Randy Orton has been taking some time off from WWE recently and is in no rush to come back. So no, it is not likely that Randy Orton is going to be flat out released from WWE, and is instead likely sticking around but on a part-time basis.